Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the Paramis, the second lecture of the series which we started last month. Parami means the attributes that we need to develop in order to attain the liberation. So last time we talked about what Paramis are and what sort of a mindset that we should have in order to develop Paramis. So today I am going to talk about the three specific Bodhis of enlightenment. So why do we fulfill Parami? In order to get liberated. So it can be explained either as we fulfill Parami to attain the Maggavihari, so we get liberated in Nibbana, or we fulfill Parami directly to attain Nibbana. And attainment of Nibbana is done by attaining Maggavihari. And it can be done in three ways, either by becoming a Buddha, by becoming a Pacceka Buddha, or becoming an Arahanth. So we call these are the three types of Bodhi. Each Bodhi, the fulfillment of Parami towards each Bodhi is different from each other. They are very much different. So what sort of a mentality or mindset that we should have in order to attain the specific Bodhi, that will be our topic today. Right. So there are three types of Bodhis: Samma Sambuddhahood, Pacceka Buddhahood, and becoming an Arahanth. In order to become an Arahanth, we should have the desire or intention of getting liberated from samsara as quick as possible, because the mindset to become an Arahanth is to get rid of samsara. First we need to think that all three liberations, like all three types of liberation, becoming a Buddha or a Pacceka Buddha or an Arahanth, the main aim is to get liberated. But of a Samma Sambuddha, he also have a desire, while he get liberated, he also have a desire to make others liberate as well. Pacceka Buddha has a desire to liberate by himself without waiting for a Buddha, without waiting for the dispensation of a Buddha, without getting the help of a Buddha. Arahanth has the desire to get rid of samsara. So therefore each Bodhi, if you look at the final outcome, the path would be different in terms of the way they attain or in terms of what they want to do with the attainment. But all three are equal in the sense of liberating from samsara. A Samma Sambuddha also wants to get rid of samsara. Pacceka Buddha also wants to get rid of samsara. Arahanth also wants to get rid of samsara. The difference is a Samma Sambuddha wishes not only for his liberation but also the liberation of others. So, and a Pacceka Buddha wants to liberate by himself without waiting for a Samma Sambuddha. Then Arahanth would find out that it is not easy to liberate by himself, so he would get the help of a Samma Sambuddha and get liberated as soon as possible. So these are the three ways of liberating. So a person who wants to become an Arahanth, I will explain it in detail later on, wants to be an Arahanth should have the mindset of liberating himself, getting liberated from samsara and attaining nirvana as soon as possible. So from the beginning, from the outset, he should be thinking or considering about the dangers of samsara and the benefits of attaining nirvana. Right. So now, in order to be a Pacceka Buddha, one needs to have a mindset. Now, all of them need to fulfill 10 types of Parami. There is no argument in it. But the mindset that we should have related to our Bodhi is very important. A person who wants to be a Pacceka Buddha has a desire to liberate by himself. It's very important that I'll explain it later why someone wishes to be a Pacceka Buddha. He doesn't want to wander in samsara waiting for the appearance of a Samma Sambuddha. He develops his inner qualities that he would get whenever his paramis are fulfilled, he would liberate from samsara whenever he is ready. Whenever he is ready. So that is the main purpose of a Pacceka Buddha. So Pacceka Buddha sees the dangers of waiting in samsara till the appearance of a Samma Sambuddha. So he finds out that you have to suffer a lot because we cannot control the appearance of Samma Sambuddhas. It depends on how many people are wishing to become Samma Sambuddha and how much they are striving, how much they are successful. That is a variable that we cannot control, which is out of our control. So if someone wants to be an Arahanth, he has to wait in samsara till a Samma Sambuddha appears. So some people see this as a danger and wishes to get liberated by themselves. So they wish of Pacceka Buddhahood. So that is the mindset of a Pacceka Buddha in brief. Yeah. Then in order to be a Samma Sambuddha, he should develop, a person who wishes to be a Samma Sambuddha should develop the compassion towards the living beings, other beings, that he should always think that my effort is to liberate as beings as much as possible. So I am trying for such a great enlightenment, such a great attainment, so in future I will be able to liberate these beings from this samsara. So a person who wants to be a Samma Sambuddha should also strive to get knowledge as much as possible in order to develop, to reach the omnisciency. At the same time, his main wish is to liberate beings from samsara. So he is not a person who always thinks about his own liberation, but rather he thinks about how important and why should I always strive to liberate other beings, because they will never have a chance to get rid of samsara unless there is Samma Sambuddha. So he takes the responsibility of liberating other beings. So his mindset is quite different from the other two because he has an extra effort, extra vision that this effort is not only for me but for many others. So a person who wishes to be a Samma Sambuddha should develop the great compassion towards many beings. Now we'll start from in detail what would be the mindset of a person who wishes to be a Samma Sambuddha, and a person who wishes to be a Pacceka Buddha, and a person who wishes to be a Arahanth. So we go into detail. So it is mentioned in the books, especially in the commentary for Charya Pitaka, how a person starts this journey of becoming a Samma Sambuddha. Always we need to keep in mind, whatever the attainment we wish, whatever the attainment we are looking at, this is not something that we can achieve in 1 or 2 days. This is a lifelong practice. Whatever Bodhi we are wishing, either to be a Arahanth or a Pacceka Buddha or a Samma Sambuddha, and it may take lives. So what one is supposed to do is try their best as much as possible to do what they are supposed to do. So fulfilling Parami means doing that is necessary in order to attain the liberation, and it cannot be done. Now for example, if you think about becoming a doctor, you cannot just be a doctor because you want it. You cannot be a doctor out of in 2 or 3 days just because of reading some books or trying hard. In the same way, these bodhis, attainments cannot be achieved in 1 or 2 days. It is a lifelong practice that one has to maintain in order to reach these stages. So the first thing we should have is, anyone who is wishing to be liberated should have the vision that this is a constant practice. We should keep on doing this, doing what we should do till we die. So that should be the mindset of a person who is wishing to get liberated. And then it differs based on the attainment that we are wishing. So first thing is, we need to keep in mind, this is not delaying. Becoming a Buddha is not delaying your liberation. Becoming a Buddha, Samma Sambuddha, is reaching a greater goal. That's how we should think. Becoming a Pacceka Buddha is not delaying your liberation. It's fastening your attainment. Becoming a Arahanth is not inferior. It is for the sake of your own liberation, getting rid of samsara. So all three bodhis are greater in that sense. They have their different benefits. So it's up to the person to decide which bodhi he would prefer and he would aim at. And then fulfilling paramis is not something delaying our attainment, but doing what we should do in order to reach our goal. Always think about becoming a good person or reaching a higher level in society. In order to reach that, we have to work hard in order to reach that place. In order to be a billionaire, you have to work hard, for example. Maybe you will not never reach it in this life. But still, what you have to do is, you have to do what you are supposed to do. So likewise, fulfilling paramis means doing that is what is necessary in order to reach the state, and that should be a constant practice. Yeah. So now it is mentioned in the commentary of Charya Pitaka how someone starts this process of becoming a Samma Sambuddha. It is said now in the beginning, the first seed of thought of becoming a Samma Sambuddha arises due to any of the four reasons. First is not due to great compassion, because having great compassion towards all the other beings is something that is of a level of higher level in terms of spirituality, like sacrificing all the pleasures that we have because of other beings is not something that someone can do very easily. So therefore, in the beginning of the process of becoming a Samma Sambuddha, no one would have the great compassion that like the ascetic Sumedha had in front of the Buddha Dipankara. That level, reaching that level, is an achievement through a very long process of fulfilling paramis. In the beginning, it is said the thought appears either because of one of the four reasons. First, these are called four paccaya. Four paccaya for the abhinihara. Abhinihara means the moment a person becomes destined to be a Samma Sambuddha. Now, our Buddha became destined to be a Buddha at the foot of the Buddha Dipankara. We all know the story. The ascetic Sumedha. Ascetic Sumedha got the proclamation that he will be a Buddha one day as Gotama, called Gotama. So, in order to reach that, so that is the moment he becomes destined, sure to attain Samma Sambuddhahood one day. So, in order to reach that state, he has to practice for a long period. So, how this practice starts? So, there can be one of the four reasons. First is he sees the Buddha's glory, especially while he is performing psychic powers. Then another reason can be he hears the glory of the Buddha. Buddha is such and such a person. Then he gets the desire, oh, I should also be someone like that. Seeing the Buddha performing psychic powers, obviously people feel, oh, isn't it good that I would be such a person? Obviously it arises in us when we see a person very famous in the society, we also want to be such a person. Like in the same way, seeing a Buddha, that thought arises. Listening the story of the Buddha. The third is, I shall explain it later in the next phase. Next is listening to a Dhamma talk given by the Buddha about the qualities of the Buddha. Sometimes Buddha praises the quality of a Tathagata. Tathagata has these qualities and so forth. So listening to a talk given by the Buddha himself about Buddha, sometimes the desire arises. And the fourth is respecting the Dhamma. Respecting the Dhamma means a person with a great desire, great good qualities within himself, learning what is the path towards Buddhahood. This is what a Bodhisattva has to, these are the steps that the Bodhisattva has to follow in order to reach Buddhahood. Give Dāna, practice Sīla, give up the sensual pleasures. So listening to them, reading them, he feels, oh, it's good for me to practice and protect such good qualities. So with the desire to be a good person, with the desire to do good practice, he starts to practice as a Bodhisattva. So these are the four reasons which I will explain in the next phase. Seeing the Buddha performing certain miracles, one gets the desire to be a Buddha one day. Listening to the story of a Buddha and listening to the discourses given by a Buddha about the Buddha. And fourth is learning the path towards the Buddhahood and having a desire to reach that final goal, completing this path. Right. So the first is now all these four, if you analyze these four paccaya, a person who starts the journey to be a Samma Sambuddha, these four are not triggered by compassion. These are self-motivated for self-success. Now someone sees a Buddha performing the twin miracles. Always one would see, like, think about someone performing a sportsman. Someone becomes the greatest sportsman ever. So when we see his success, we feel happy about him. We feel very pleasant and we feel happy that he has achieved such a thing. Normally that's what happened to most of the people. Sometimes some may get upset because of some other defilements, but most of the people would be happy about someone performing successfully in such a level. Then we would feel, okay, is it nice to be such a person, to be admired by the entire world, to be the best person in such a department? Yes, such thoughts arise in most of us. So seeing the Buddha performing twin miracles unmatched by any other ascetic, surely a person would feel an energetic, ambitious person. Oh, isn't it nice that I would be such a person? It is mentioned in our literature that when the Buddha, after preaching Dhamma in the Devaloka, Abhidhamma, when he descended to the human world, human realm, he performed some miracles, and none of the people, Putujanas who were around, who saw this, had a thought. None of them didn't have a thought. Like, every Putujana had a thought that, may I be a Buddha one day, in order to do such a thing, such a great thing. It is said that not most of the people who wish for such a attainment would not reach there, would end up in a lower stage. That is for sure. But that is the initial thought that comes. So think about this. This is not based on karuna. This is based on a motivation to bring ourselves into a higher position, to achieve such a task. Then sometimes when we read the great story of the Buddha, we may not be able to see him live, but listening to the story, listening to a Dhamma talk or reading the books, we may feel, oh, isn't it nice that I would be such a person one day? Such thought arises. So that is also a self-motivated and also a motivation regarding his own success. Now the third is listening to the Buddha preaching his own qualities. This is another very special occasion. Now we read the story of the Buddha through the books or listen from someone, and sometimes we see what he's doing. Now in this third occasion, someone listens Buddha preaching his own qualities, and without any arrogance. Sometimes people do speak about their qualities with arrogance, with mana. Then we don't feel it much. We feel like, oh, he's boasting about himself. But if someone without arrogance, with clear understanding, without any mana or trying to glorify himself, but just telling the good qualities that he has, it shows the confidence of the person. It shows the success of the person, that he has reached the level and he is capable of explaining it. So it's really attractive. Someone would feel, oh, I should be such a person that one day I'll be able to talk about my success to the world in such a way. So when Buddha said Tathagata has achieved this and this, it's not just talking about his final life. This is a success that he attained through a practice of enormous lives. So listening to this story, people may get the feeling, oh, I want to be such a person one day. Now think about this. This is also for self-success. It's not about, there's nothing related with karuna in this sense, in this occasion. Then the fourth factor is, some people they possess certain qualities in themselves that they want to do good things. They want to achieve some task. They want to fulfill something in the life. meaningful something in the life. We know such people. And it's not that they are going to do they are not going to harm the world. Some people have such a desire to do something, so instead, in the end, they end up making a world war or a conflict among others. But some people have a desire to do something useful to the world, do meaningful something in the life. So when reading the Buddha's story, Bodhisattva's story, what he has done in order to reach that level, one person may get a feeling, oh, I want to walk on this path. I want to be this successful man who has completed this task and finally want to achieve this. So in this regard, in this fourth approach, in the first three, they were thinking about the final outcome. Their aim is to be a person who perform such psychic powers and become the greatest man on the earth, in the universe, or listening to the story to be such a guy, and listening to Buddha preaching his own qualities to be such a confident person who can preach about his success. Now, all these three, if you think sharply, you will feel that the aim is to achieve such a goal. In the fourth case, he wants to complete the task. So he's enjoying the process, he's enjoying the practice, he's enjoying what a bodhisattva is doing in order to reach that level. Maybe to give his limbs to others, to give his eyes to others, to sacrifice his family, like offering the beloved ones to ones who are in need of that. So giving up a kingdom in order to become an ascetic. So these kind of sacrifices, these kind of tolerances, he just want to practice it in order to be a successful man in the end. So in the fourth approach, he respects the Dhamma. Dhamma means the practice. So now these are the four Pacceka in order to become a destined bodhisattva. Destined bodhisattva is one of attainment, of whose attainment has been proclaimed by a Buddha, like Sumedha. In order to reach that level, these are the four Pacceka, the initial four conditions. I'll repeat again. Seeing the Buddha performing miracles, listen to the story of the Buddha, listening to a Buddha preaching about his own qualities, or understanding the path towards the Buddhahood and being desirous to fulfill this path. So these are the four initial Pacceka for Abhinihara. Abhinihara means for the good wholesome deed to become a destined bodhisattva. Then comes the four Hetu. The great compassions come in the four Hetu, which I will explain now in the next session. So initially, it is nothing related with karuna. It is related to his own success. Yeah. So then comes the four Hetu for the Samma Sambuddhahood. So there are four Hetu. We saw Upanissaya Sampada. First is Upanissaya Sampada. Second is Hitacharya, practicing benefits for the benefit of others. Third is not getting afraid or giving up the practice due to the suffering that one encounters in samsara and fulfilling the Parami. And fourth is associating good friends, good Kalyana Mitta. So based on these Hetu, now Paccekas were the reason for him to start the practice to become a Buddha. Now he develops, what he does is he keeps on doing good deeds, Dāna, Sīla, Bhavana in Buddha Sasana. In many Samma Sambuddha Sasanas, he keeps on doing good and good deeds, endless deeds. So he develops a great meritorious character in him. He develops a meritorious character in him. So that is called Upanissaya, fulfilling good deeds, paramis in the Buddha Sasanas. So then he becomes a special person during the samsara. Then he develops great compassion towards the being. Then he starts to see how beings are suffering, then how he could help them. Then naturally he develops the compassion towards others. He tries his best to alleviate the suffering of others. And he also thinks about how could I liberate them from this samsara, because in some lives he doesn't have an idea about Nibbana, because he's just a bodhisattva who has started his practice. But naturally he develops the compassionate mindset towards others. Especially when he gets the opportunity in a Buddha Sasana, he have developed these good qualities, doing good deeds and developing the compassion again and again. So he involves in doing good deeds throughout the samsara. So this is the place where he develops compassion. So he starts to look into the world, that how beings are suffering in this life and how would they suffer in the endless samsara, and what is the way out of this samsara. How do we stop this samsara, and how do I instruct others to get rid of this samsara. So he develops the compassion. First he develops lots of good merits, does good merits, and then develop the great compassion towards beings. Then another hetu is, one cannot become a Samma Sambuddha if he is afraid of samsara. Samsara is a dreadful place. If you listen to the suffering, the 31 realms, and even if you listen to the suffering of humans in the past, what were the punishments given by kings in the past, for instance. We feel, oh, am I going to face such a punishment in samsara if I'm going to remain in this? Like, think about being buried alive, think about being made to stand on a wall till death. So these are, and being burnt alive or boiled alive, these are the sufferings that we all would encounter in samsara if we remain here. Now, a person who wants to be a Buddha has to work so much time in samsara, in countless lives, so surely he is going to face these kind of sufferings. There's no doubt about that. There's no argument in it. Now, when someone understands the suffering of samsara, automatically a normal person would feel, oh, I cannot do this. I'll just rather get out of this samsara. I cannot endure such suffering because of other beings. So that would be the natural way of thinking of us, most of us. But a bodhisattva he would not be able to reach the final task if he is afraid of samsara. If he is afraid of what a bodhisattva has to do in order to reach the Buddhahood. If you read the sacrifices he made as a bodhisattva, how can I do such a thing? So that is the initial thought that comes in ordinary beings. So he has to develop the mindset. It is not that the bodhisattva was always ready to face them. No, he should always, there were occasions that he was stepping back. There were many occasions that he had second thoughts because he is not destined yet. But he has to develop the mindset not to be afraid. Think about the final attainment, final achievement that he's going to make. And the impermanence of this suffering, these are temporal sufferings in terms of compared to the nibbana that he's going to get and the nibbana that he's going to offer the other beings. So when he has to change his mindset, third hetu is he should not be afraid of samsara. He should not be afraid of the practice of a bodhisattva. He should not get detached. Detached means like fully detached from the samsara and get out of samsara. So this is the third cause. I just want to add something from another tradition in the Tibetan tradition, because they wish to be a Buddha one day. Everyone wish to be a Buddha in their traditions. So I have heard in a Dhamma talk, that a Tibetan Dhamma talk, actually I listened it from Dalai Lama, the Holiness, when I was traveling in India. It said that Pacceka Bodhisattvas and Savaka Bodhisattvas, it's a impediment, it's an obstacle for a Samma Sambuddha Mahabodhisattva to listen to associate Pacceka Bodhisattva and Savaka Bodhisattva very closely, because their mind could change. When you are always seeing the dangers of samsara and so forth, if they were encouraging the person to get rid of samsara, mindset of a Samma Sambuddha Bodhisattva would change. So that made sense actually. That makes sense what the other tradition is saying. So anyway, he cannot be afraid of samsara. That is a very important factor. Then the fourth is associating good friends, wise friends, virtuous friends, kalyana mitta. So because this Bodhisattva has just started the practice, so he needs to grow, he needs to develop in many faculties in the spiritual path. So he needs the support of good friends. So with the help of good friends, he grows step by step. So likewise, he is now based on doing good merits, enormous merits, developing the great compassion towards the living beings, and not becoming afraid of the samsara, and finally associating very good friends. He develops gradually, and now he is going towards the Mahabhinihara. Right. Yeah. So now, because of these, Paccaya and Hetu, he develops 4 other bala. There are a few things extra things that we need to discuss if we go in detail, but I'll skip them. There are 4 balas, that powers that he develops within himself. Because in himself, he likes to do good things. He respects the Dhamma. He respects what should be done, like practicing Sīla, Samadhi and Paññā. And he keeps on doing good deeds. That is called Ajjatika Bala. That is a power in him to be a good person and to be the Buddha one day. So his mind now starts to incline towards the Buddhahood. So he is practicing good deeds as much as possible in order to be a Buddha, because he wants himself to upgrade to this level. That is the Ajjatika Bala. Bahira Bala, he sees the benefits of being a Buddha, how much great benefits that he can give to the other world, to the other beings. So in order to liberate the others, for the sake of others, he doesn't give up this. So he remains in this Buddhahood, and he starts to like this Buddha state because of others, in order to liberate others. First, Ajjatika Bala is because he likes to be such a person. Second, Bahira Bala, he wants to be a Buddha in order to liberate others. Then comes Upanisaya Bala. Upanisaya Bala means a strength that within himself. Actually, these are mainly the forces that takes him towards the Buddhahood and makes him unshaken in the path. Now he has practiced. Now think that from the initial stage, now he has been practicing throughout the samsara, great compassion, doing great merits, associating good friends, and he had developed lots of good qualities in samsara. Therefore, naturally his mind inclines towards this Buddhahood. That is called Upanisaya Bala. With the power of his past practice, he likes to be a Buddha. Then Payoga Bala. Payoga Bala means he has a very strong determination, strong effort that he would one day reach this final destination. Based on these 4 powers, Ajjatika Bala, Bahira Bala, Upanisaya Bala and Payoga Bala, he walks on this path, and while he is walking, at a certain moment when the 8 conditions come together, meeting a Buddha, he wishes to be a Buddha one day again. He has been practicing merits in order to be a Buddha one day, but he does it again in front of a Buddha on a special occasion. And 8 factors come together. That is the moment he becomes destined to be a Buddha. So that is called Mahabhinihara. Right. So then we'll conclude about the Samma Sambuddhas with this explanation of Bodhisattvas, because we have to explain 2 other Bodhisattvas as well, how the mindset should be. So now when he has have these all 4 Paccaya, 4 Hetu and 4 Bala, there is a special, in a one special life, 8 factors come together. This gathering of 8 factors is very special, and that is, on one occasion he will be born as a human being, right? Because during that initial stages he may be born as humans or animals, and maybe a man or a woman, a eunuch, various ways of life. He may get some wrong views. So it's not a destined journey. He's trying to be a Buddha. He's trying to follow the Bodhisattva's path, but his ups and downs are there. Now in a one special life, he is born as a human being and as a man, because now from that way, that that day onwards, now he's going to be completely dedicate himself to be a Buddha, and it can only be achieved by a man, because it's a lot of tolerance should be there, a lot of effort should be there, which can only be done a man. So therefore he is a human in one life and also a man. Then he gives up household life, sensual pleasures, and become a monk or a ascetic in a righteous sasana, in a sasana where kamma vipaka is accepted. Then there also he practices well and attains jhana abhiññā. Jhanas and abhiññās, is able to perform psychic powers and also able to see the world with his divine eyes and all. So then he has jhanas and he has suppressed the defilements. He has suppressed the defilements. With the practice that he has been doing, now he has a upanisaya. Now he has enough parami to become an arahanth. He has enough parami to become an arahanth. More than enough paramis. So the 5 factors. He's a human, he's a man, he has ordained himself, he has gone forth, he has given up the household life. Then he has attained jhana abhiññās, having suppressed the defilements. Now he has the upanisaya, the enough qualifications to become an arahanth. Then he meets a Buddha, Samma Sambuddha. He sees a Samma Sambuddha with his eyes face to face. Then he does a great merit, such as sacrificing his life or doing a great type of a merit that is not an ordinary merit, like what Sumedha did. He sacrificed his entire body to the Buddha and Sangha. It is called adhikara. Adhikara is the word, like he does a great merit. Then chanda, he has a desire now. Because then the thought comes, seeing the Buddha with this first when the first 6 factors are there, a thought comes that I want to be a Buddha one day. Now he's a man, he's a human, he's a man, he's an ascetic and attained jhana abhiññās. Now seeing the and he has the upanisaya, the paramis to be an arahanth, and he sees the Buddha. Now a desire comes, I want to be such a person one day. I want to be a Buddha one day. The thought comes. Now with that thought he does a great merit, adhikara, the 7th factor. Thought to become Buddha is not a factor, right? The factors are human, man, ascetic, having jhana abhiññās, having the paramis to become an arahant, seeing the Buddha. Then he does a merit, great merit, with the desire to be a Buddha, and he has a strong will, chanda, that I will never give up this, and whatever it is necessary, I will achieve this. Even I am supposed to swim from one end of the world to the other, I will do it if it is what is required to be a Buddha. If I am supposed to die in the hell, burn in the hell for eons, and only coming out of the hell I will be a Buddha, if I am ready for that. That kind of a great will, chanda, arises in him. So when these 8 factors come together and he does the merit with the desire of becoming a Buddha, with the wish that I may be a Buddha by this merit one day, which he has been doing in the samsara in many lives, but now this is a special occasion. At that time, the chitta arises. He does the kusala, sacrifice, with a merit, with a desire to be a Buddha one day. That chitta, that karma is called, that chitta is called abhinihara chitta. Abhinihara chitta. Abhinihara chitta together with 8 factors. 8 factors. This chitta, if such a chitta arises in a mind stream of any person, a chitta with 8 factors, that santana, that nama-rupa process would surely one day reach the level of a Samma Sambuddhahood. So that is the moment he becomes destined to be a Buddha. He himself even cannot go out now. He will surely be a Buddha one day. So his mind has been developed to that level. And that is the moment a Buddha would say, this man in front of me would be a Buddha in future. That is called becoming destined. That is the abhinihara kusala. So till that, look at the journey till that. After that, it's fulfilling 10 paramis in a very maximum level, in a level that is unthinkable by ordinary beings like us. So now think the mindset. The initial thought came with a desire to upgrade, like become a great person. It's a self-desire. But later on, he developed it into the compassion. So, the mindset of a bodhisattva is to attain nirvana, not alone, but also by liberating others. So, if someone wishes to be this person, that is the desire of different beings. We cannot ask everyone to be an Arahanth. So, that is a personal desire. So, if someone desires to be a Samma Sambuddha one day, so the mindset one should have is, should like the attainment to get rid of Nibbana, attain Nibbana by getting rid of Sansara, to attain Nibbana by getting rid of Sansara, with the intention of liberating many beings as much as possible. So that should be the mindset, and that has to be developed gradually. It doesn't appear naturally. Maybe some who are listening or who will be listening this talk have a desire to be a Buddha one day. So that is now he should develop these compassionate thoughts. He should do merits as much as possible. So slowly he or she will be able to develop the mindset to such a level. And one day he'll be destined to be a Buddha if he or she is successful. Right? So now we move on to the mindset of a Pacceka Buddha Bodhisattva. So one can, it's another topic that needs to be discussed in detail, but I will try to handle it as much as possible. Now, we know that Pacceka Buddhas attain by themselves, but they do not preach the path. They do not preach the vipassana. They are not capable of making other beings to liberate. And we know their practice, their time of practice is much longer than any Arahanth, even longer than that of a great chief disciple, Sariputta Moggallana. And practicing for such a long period, now Samma Sambuddha's practice we can appreciate or accept because he takes such a long period. It's not only for him but also for others. But a Pacceka Buddha is liberating only himself, while he could have done it in a shorter period as an Arahanth. Why is making such a great effort of spending long time in samsara, fulfilling paramis, in just to liberate himself, while he could have done it being an Arahanth? This is the obvious question. And that's why some people even don't think about Pacceka Buddhahood. Right? Ones who have compassion would think about being a Samma Sambuddha. Ones who think that the samsara is suffering would think about becoming Arahanth. But actually, Pacceka Buddhas, why someone wants to be a Pacceka Buddha is to get rid of samsara as much quick as possible. That is the reason. Why is that? Think about Savakas, Arahants. Arahants do fulfill their paramis. So there are many who could fulfill the paramis, but still they have to wait in samsara till the appearance of a Samma Sambuddha. Till the appearance of a Samma Sambuddha. They are suitable for enlightenment. Now think about the Mahadana Setti. He had the capacity to be an Arahant and he missed the opportunity, and now he is born in the hells. He comes up. Now he has to wait to meet another Buddha. It's not that he wait till another Buddha, he has to meet another Buddha. And also we know in samsara there are many eons that passes by without any Samma Sambuddha. According to the literature, after Buddha Dipankara, a Samma Sambuddha appeared after one asankheya of eons, Mahakappa, and that was Kondanya, Buddha Kondanya, and he was alone. He didn't have any other Buddhas in his eon, any others. And after his passing away, another asankheya of kappas were empty of Buddhas. Then appeared Mangala Buddha. So Dipankara and Mangala, in between these two, there were two asankheyas and just one Buddha. And this is a phenomenon that can happen in samsara. Because we cannot determine the number of Buddhas, it is determined based on how much successful the bodhisattvas are. It's not about the number of bodhisattvas, how successful they are. So unfortunately, there can be occasions where bodhisattvas are not very successful. And there can be eons, thousands of millions of billions of eons without any Buddha. So a Savaka wishing to attain, there is a possibility that he may fulfill his parami, but he has to still linger in samsara. And imagine now, someone starts the practice in the Dipankara's Buddha's sasana, or maybe Deep Tanhankara, Medankara, or whatever, and he couldn't attain in Dipankara Buddha's time, but he was almost mature, his parami was almost mature, and he has completed it in another few eons. Now he has to wait in samsara till the Konnanya Buddha appears. Imagine, being in samsara, anything could happen by us. So he commits matricide or patricide or do a very heinous bad deed. And he is born in the hells while the Konnanya Buddha was there. When he comes out, the Buddha has passed away, sasana is gone. Imagine, this is a scenario that is possible. Now he has to wait another asankhya of kappas till the Mangala Buddha appears. So some beings see this danger in samsara. This is a danger of savakas. Unless the savaka is destined to be someone in a specific Buddha sasana like Konnanya, Moggallana and all these, there is a very high possibility that he may lose this opportunity. So seeing this danger in samsara, some great people think, no. Waiting till a Buddha to appear for the liberation is a weakness. It means the being is unable to understand the Four Noble Truths by himself. That is a weakness of his wisdom. I don't want to be such a weak person. I want to get liberated by myself, my own strength. I don't want to depend on a Buddha. It is not disrespecting the Buddha. He gets the support of a Buddha in Buddha Sasana, but he thinks of developing his wisdom to a level that I'll be able to understand the Four Noble Truths by myself without any help. Whenever my parami is fulfilled, I'll liberate from this samsara. That is the thought of a Pacceka Buddha Bodhisattva. Right? So, beings wish to become Pacceka Buddhas in order to get rid of samsara as soon as possible. As soon as possible. And there's another point with related to Pacceka Buddhas. It is not that everyone who practices to be a Pacceka Buddha get liberated by themselves. Sometimes, before they are destined, because after starting the Pacceka Buddhahood path, there is a time they become destined. Before they become destined to become a Pacceka Buddha, they may encounter Buddha sasanas, and sometimes they may get liberated as Arahants. That is possible. Because their intention is to get rid of samsara as soon as possible. So it is not that every Pacceka Bodhisattva is going to attain by himself. His desire is to get rid of samsara as soon as possible, right? So it is not necessary for him to do it by himself. If he gets the support of a Buddha, he does it with the help of Buddha and get liberated. It's nice. He's very lucky. If he is unable to do that, he will do it by himself. That is the desire of Pacceka Buddha. Why did I say so? If you look into Samanya Pala Sutta, Buddha said, if Ajata Sattu had not killed his father, he'll be a Sotapanna. Then after he left, the commentators explain, Buddha said, now he will be a Pacceka Buddha in such era. So he has been practicing to be a Pacceka Buddha for a longer period, but he was not destined to be that. Now, so if he had not killed his father, he would have been a Sotapanna and become an Arahanth soon and end the samsara. But since he killed his father, he couldn't attain the Pacceka Buddha, Sotapannahood. Now, since he has practiced to be a Pacceka Buddha, he will end the samsara as a Pacceka Buddha. So likewise, Pacceka Buddhahood is a very safe path, but it is a hard path. One has to practice paramis in a very, very higher level, because he has to develop the capacity to a level that he will understand the Four Noble Truths and eradicates the defilements by himself. So that is the mindset of a person who wishes to be a Pacceka Buddha. That I would not wait till a Buddha appears, I will attain by myself, and I will develop my faculties to a level that I will be able to understand this reality by myself without the help of anyone. So that is the mindset of a Pacceka Bodhisattva. Right. So in order to be an Arahant, that most of beings who desire to be Arahanth or get rid of samsara as soon as possible, one should develop the mindset of seeing the dangers of samsara. So that is the thought that he should develop. Like, I'll get the support of a Samma Sambuddha. I wish to meet the sasana if we are unable to attain in this very life, and do merits as much as possible that is conducive to the attainment, and develop these qualities. So a person who wishes to be an Arahanth one day, but there can be differences. One who wants to be a chief disciple or a great disciple, then there should be some other additional determinations of their person. I'm not going to go into detail because the time doesn't allow us. So the person who wishes to be an Arahanth always should consider the dangers of samsara and the benefits of nirvana. So there is no necessity of considering that I'll be able to do it by myself. And in order to be safe, he should always wish to meet the Buddha Sasana, not to miss the Buddha Sasanas. Right? So that is a very vital point. So therefore, a person who wishes to be an Arahanth tries to have a mindset, should develop a mindset of seeing the dangers of samsara and seeing the benefits of nirvana. And also talks about it, propagates this, and do merits as much as possible that would be conducive to his own attainment. So he should listen to Dhamma, and also in that very life, whenever he has the opportunity, especially in this life, they should try as much as possible. Whenever opportunity, go for meditation, retreats, listen to Dhamma, practice as much as possible, and try to keep a balance in life, and that should be the mindset of a person who wishes to be an Arahanth. So there's nothing much to do like a Samma Sambuddha or a Pacceka Buddha's practice in order to be an Arahanth, but always incline the mind towards the attainment, at least to be a Sotapanna in this very life or in a sooner life. So that is the vital aspect of a Savaka Buddha, Savakahood.
Now next question is from Brother John Murray. Okay, the question is in the status. The Bahasa Indonesia. Okay, in English, first from Brother John Murray, Vandani Bante, I want to ask about Dāna. When I do Dāna for me and parents, is it better for Dāna to be separate? This is Dāna for me and that is Dāna from my parents. And separate name or joint name together, then the Dāna we say is from me or my both parents. Which one is better? And do the karma better if separate or the same as joint? Sadhu. Pertanyaannya adalah dalam bahasa Indonesianya, Mandani Bante, saya ingin bertanya mengenai dana. Apabila saya berdana untuk saya dan orang tua saya, apakah lebih baik dana itu dipisahkan? Misalnya dana itu dari saya, kemudian dana yang satu lagi dari orang tua saya. Dan dipisahkan namanya atau digabungkan, kemudian dana tersebut kita sebutkan sebagai dana dari saya dan kedua orang tua saya. Biar mana yang lebih bagus dan mana yang lebih baik, apakah dipisahkan atau digabungkan? Sadhu.
So I have to clarify this question first. Now in the first sentence, when I do dana for me and parents, is it better for dana to be separate? So this dana is from me and that is dana from my parents. So I'm confused. Like, is it that the person is giving dana for the sake of my own benefit and for the welfare of parents, or to give merits to the dead past parents, or is it a dana that is given by my wealth and from the parents' wealth? So because I'm not clear about the question.
I think dana from
when I say dana from my from parents, it means dana given by my own wealth and dana given by the wealth of parents, right?
Yeah, because sometimes it transfer. I think if I'm not.
I think the chat box.
According in the meeting chat, the dana is from John Marley's wealth and give some representing his parents.
So it's like
So let's
the
say
okay, yes.
$100 from John Marley pockets, and then dedicate that to John Marley and his parents. Something like that.
Right. For example, you are giving a dana for your own benefit and also for the parents, right? For the parents. Okay.
Yes.
So
sometimes like when we transfer Dāna, then we put it on the message Dāna from me and my family.
oh, that is like you are from means you are spending money, right?
Yes.
Right. So dana from me and it is dedicated to myself and the parents, right?
Yes.
So okay, right. So in these both cases are possible. Even you dedicate a dana to the parents, still if it is given by you, you get the merit actually, right? So it's not that your dana is going to give merits to parents. Only thing, if they are diseased or passed away, we can share merits with them. If they are not in a position to get merit, for example, if they are born as humans, they are not going to get that merit. That's obvious. So, but still, another relative would still rejoice in this merit. So therefore, whether we separate or not, the benefits for the donor will be there. Whether you give it for the parents or whether you give it for yourself or whether you give it combined or separately, if it is from your wealth, there's nothing to worry. Your benefits will be there. The parents' benefits only if they rejoice in it. If they are alive, for example, that can have some effect to them, but in order to get merits, they have to rejoice and say sadhu sadhu, right? So therefore, there's one such a thing, like if now I'm giving a dana for my own liberation and also for my parents, but in some occasions, like if they are really expecting merits as spirits, becoming spirits, if they are expecting merits, if you can fully dedicate it for the parents, that would make them more happy, because then they feel, oh, this entire dana is dedicated for us, so they get more and more happiness in that. So if you are giving a dana to parents, it's okay even if you give it combined, that's no problem issue in that. But if you can separate this dana, I'm giving this dana for the sake of my parents, still you get the merits. No one can deny or prevent that. Then the parents, if the parents are waiting as spirits to observe merits, rejoiced merits, they will be very happy on that. So that would be my answer.
Okay, sadhu. Next question is from Sister Juliana. Vandami Bante, I want to ask about the word Parami. Is it included in Sutta Pitaka? Especially about 10 paramis to be fulfilled, so we can be liberated from samsara, for candidates of samsara, Samma Sambuddha or Pacceka Buddha. Vandami Bante, saya mau bertanya tentang kata parami. Apakah kata tersebut terdapat di Sutta, terutama yang membahas soal 10 parami yang dipenuhi ada pembebas dari samsara, baik itu calon Samma Sambuddha ataupun Pacceka Buddha?
Yeah, so the word Parami we can find especially in Charya Pitaka, which also includes in Sutta Pitaka. But I don't remember it seeing in any other Nikayas, for example, like Majjhima and all these. Maybe I have to check for that. Mostly Buddha Vansa, Buddha Vansa, Charya Pitaka. So these books we have, but not in the Nikayas, right? Majjhima or something like that. I don't think that word is found there. So Apadana, yes, all these books we have this. In the Khuddaka Nikaya, we find this word Parami. So especially in the Khuddaka Nikaya, we find the word. And it is obviously in Charya Pitaka, Buddha said that he has practiced all the 10 paramis. We can see it very clearly. And if someone asks the question, is it necessary to be for the Savakas? Yes, that's why we should keep in mind in the first lecture, I said Parami means the requirements for the attainment. So if someone is practicing listening to Dhamma and meditating, that is also fulfilling Parami. So rather than finding the word, like rather than going into the word, like what is it really necessary? What we are doing is incorporate the word Parami into our practice. So our practice means Parami. It is not that something that we do delaying the attainment, or something that we do so because of this Parami, this attainment comes up. No. The process of attainment itself is fulfilling Parami. Even the Sankarupeka Jnana is a fulfillment of Parami, Paññā Parami. Getting jhana is a Parami, fulfillment Parami. So that's what Bodhisattva did in samsara. And in the final life also, while we are practicing, when we get into the jhana for the vipassana, that is a fulfillment of Parami. So Parami is the practice that we need to get rid of samsara. The word is Parami. Para means nibbana, or para means the Maggavihari. Mi means that the practice that takes us to nibbana, or the practice that takes us to Maggavihari. So therefore, the word is found in Khuddaka Nikaya, but in the sutras, but we should think about it, is like whoever wants to liberate has to fulfill Parami. It means he has to practice.
Okay, next question. Bante from Sister Supriyati. Vandami Bante Sukhi Hotu. Good evening. Please Bante advise who is the first Buddha's name according to Pali text.
It's like a question asking whether the chicken or the egg. So because now if you ask about the samsara, what is the first life? For example, I need to explain a bit this in order to show that this question is not valid actually. But it is valid in one sense. If you ask the literature, who is the oldest Buddha mentioned in the literature, that is a different case. That's a different case. Who is the first Buddha in samsara? If someone asks the question, who is the first Buddha, then we have to understand there is no beginning in samsara. If there is, first I'll come to that point. If there is a beginning in samsara, in terms of cause and effect, before going into cause and effect, I'll just show that Buddhism doesn't exist. Buddhism is not useful if there is a beginning in samsara, because if there is a beginning in samsara, two doctrines collapse. That is the doctrine of karma and doctrine of nibbana. Because the obvious question, if the beginning, there was no life before that, right? So it should be the first, there should be a first life. The obvious question is, what would be the first life? Would it be in a sugati or dugati? So if we say it's dugati, then we are born in dugati without akusala kamma, right? If it was sugati, then we are born in a sugati without kusala karma. So if the first life was decided just randomly, what is the use of karma even at this moment? Right? Because there is a one life that we were born in dugati, actually the first life, without any karma. And if you are in a good life, that we were born in sugati without any kusala karma. So therefore the doctrine of karma would collapse if there is a first life. Then what happens is the doctrine of nibbana collapse, because now the first life has occurred. If there is a first life, it means it had to happen without a cause, right? It has to happen without a cause. There was no kilesa, there was no karma before that. It's out of nothing, it has come up. Now, we attain Nibbana. Attainment of Nibbana is getting rid of causes. When you get rid of the causes, you attain Nirvana. That is a cessation of suffering to come. Anupanna Nirodha. Right? A cessation of the suffering to happen. So, what happens is, if the first life happened without a cause, how could you guarantee? Now, we cut off defilements in this life and become Arahanth and attain Nibbana. Now it's done. Who can guarantee that the suffering would not happen again without causes? Because from the first place, the samsara, according to that, first place, the samsara has happened without a cause. So if there is a beginning in samsara, it has happened without a cause. So even we attain nirvana by removing the causes, how could we guarantee that after eons, 100,000 eons, the same namarupa, the process, the generation would still start again without a cause? So therefore, there cannot be a beginning in samsara. If there is a beginning, Buddhism would collapse, right? So how could it logical? For that we need to go into the cause and effect, causality, and how to understand this. So I'm not going into that detail. Now, in the same way, the first Buddha, for example, if there is no beginning in samsara, now think about first Buddha. Okay, there was an endless, beginningless samsara, then there was one person who became the Buddha for the first time. So who inspired him to be such a person? Like we normally say, Pacceka's causes are like he has to he first sees the Buddha, or he has a determination to be a Buddha. So the idea, the concept of Buddhahood should be there in the first place. So that's how one gets that determination. Okay, someone can argue, okay, without the Buddha, he would have thought about this liberation, and he was a very wise person, wise guy, the initial Buddha. Then what about the Abhinihara, the 8 factors? 8 factors are not there, because the first Buddha cannot meet another Buddha, right? He's going to be the first Buddha. So when did he become determined? So all these questions would come. So since if there is no beginning in samsara, we cannot say that this was the first Buddha, because we cannot assure that there was no Buddha before, unless that you have to see the beginningless samsara. So there is a possibility, like if you look into 16 eons and certain period of time, if there was no Buddhas, then one can argue that this could be the first Buddha. Anyway, so thing is that also, because Buddhahood is also a result of a cause. There are some causes. It's a build-up. So one of the vital factors in this path is meeting another Buddha. In order to be a Buddha, we have to meet another Buddha. In order to be a Buddha, we have to do merits in the Buddha sasanas. We have to have that thought, association with Buddhas. So therefore, it's like the beginning. So there cannot be a first Buddha according to the doctrine. Then the question came as, in our Theravada doctrine of the Gautama Buddha's sasana, in Gautama's sasana, the doctrine that we have today, who is the oldest Buddha mentioned in the doctrine? That is a question that we can answer. So in that sense, we see Dipankara was the first from whom our Bodhisattva got the proclamation. The commentators say there were 3 Buddhas before him, Tanhankara, Medhankara and Saranankara. Tanhankara, Medhankara, Saranankara. In the same eon, the 4th was Dipankara, and from him the Bodhisattva got the proclamation. And then we find some random names of Samma Sambuddhas who are not within the 24, the 28, starting from Tanhankara till Gautama. Some Buddha, like the word Pussa, the Buddha Pussa is found. We are not talking about the Buddha Pussa who appeared within the 4 Asankeyas, but about a Buddha Pussa who appeared before that. There was a Buddha called Pussa. And then if you go into the Apadana of Yasodhara's life story, he mentioned that he and the Bodhisattva both met 2 ancient Buddhas called Purana Brahma Deva, Buddha Brahma Deva, and Buddha Gautama, another Gautama Buddha. So these were the most ancient names that we find. And Yasodhara said that both of them, and she had practiced in various sasanas, and that's how she became the wife of a Bodhisattva in this final life. So there were lots of Buddhas who had appeared. The most ancient that we find in our doctrine, to my knowledge, is Brahma Deva. But there is a book called Saddhamma Ratanakara in Sri Lanka, which was written in a later period. They talk about another Buddha before that who was called another Dipankara, another ancient Dipankara, not the Dipankara from whom our Bodhisattva got the proclamation. So these are the ancient Buddhas that we find within the commentary, text commentary and sub-commentaries. We find the ancient is Brahma Deva. And there is another book which was written at a later stage. We don't know what were the sources for this book. So it contains about another Dipankara who was before the Brahma Deva as well. So this is in literature wise, this is the answer. It was a long answer. Literature wise, this is the answer. But technically, in terms of the Dhamma, there cannot be the first Buddha.
So Sister Cecilia would like to ask question.
My question is, if let's say we do a sharing merits, how far can our sharing merits reach, especially the Petta realm? Do they have to be near us and know the good karma that we have conducted, and when we share merits, then they are happy with it, that they could get the benefit? Or I'm just intrigued to know how far can our merits reach, especially to the Petta realm. Thank you, Bhante.
It means, for example, if Peta is in USA, you are giving merits in Indonesia, will it go there? Something like that, right? First of all, we should know that sharing merit is not like sharing money from one bank account to another bank account. When you share merits from one bank account to another, you lose money and the increase is there. No, it's not like that. So sharing merit is like, if I share merit with any of the dead relatives, for example, if you think by my grandfather, who I loved very much, and so when I share my merits with him, so if he's in a place where he can get them, now you specifically asked the question, if he's a life where he needs merit, right? According to the teachings, it's a Peta life, or it's one of the any life that is in need of merits. So now, what happens is, according to the Theravada teachings, right? According to the Theravada teachings, he is getting merits for his rejoicing, not because of my merit. So, if he doesn't rejoice, he doesn't get any merits. If he is unable to rejoice, he doesn't get any merits. So that's why, being a human, being a Peta, being a Deva, being an animal, there's no opportunity that they rejoice on our merit, because humans doesn't know that their past relatives are doing merit. If I was a human in past life, maybe still some meritorious actions are going on. Maybe I may also participate in that action, but I don't know it's done for me, right? So that's why Buddha said, if he's born as a human, that he's not going to get that merit. Animal, nothing to say. Devas, because Devas, it's not that they are always looking at us. They have their own duties, they have their own pleasures. They seldom look at the human realm, because it's if you read the pleasures in the Deva realm, they are fully indulged in the Deva pleasures. So therefore, sometimes some teachers say it's a very dangerous place to go in that sense. Anyway, but it's better than being in an animal realm, obviously. And so Devas do not observe us normally, and if they observe in 1-2 days, it's already 500 years have passed away. So therefore, these Petas are the ones who are waiting for that. Now imagine if a Deva comes and rejoices our merit, yes, they can get the merit. In case, for example, think some relative dies and born as a tree Deva near the house, he is observing the merits that are done by the relatives, he may sadhu rejoice and he may get the merits. Petas are the ones that Buddha said that would get the merits. So how do we bring this into a logical context? Now, there is a place that I cannot answer in how the process is going on. It says that when you look into the doctrine, when you study the doctrine, you understand that they are always observing us. They are always waiting for some of the relatives to give a Dāna. So whenever we are going to give a Dāna, they get the message. I don't know how they get the message. So somehow they get it and they come to that position and they rejoice on it. That's the thing. Now, if a relative dies, someone beloved relative dies, and he or she is born in a very bad like a destination, not all Petas can get merit. Some are just suffering. We cannot help them. Some Petas we can help. So they are always in watch. What our relatives are doing, are they doing merits for us? So if someone does, they rejoice on it. Then how far it can reach, how far it can go, that's another question. So and how do they get the message? That's the next problem, because Petas are not always watching us. They may have their own work, because according to literature, Petas do have marriages. Maybe you have not heard about that. They have villages. They do marry with asuras actually. They are, asura means asura kaya, not the Deva asuras, the hell asura, the ones who are in the awful realms. They have marriages, they have ceremonies. Petas have ceremonies. Maybe I don't know whether they have bestman and all, but what kind of a ceremony is that? But somehow they do have relationships. They do have families. They do have sex. They have children. They bear children. Some Petas. There are some Peta villages. According to that's mentioned in Theravada teachings. So it is not that all the Petas are always observing and wishing for merits and all this. So there is a possibility that one Peta is doing some other activity while some merits are done for them. So in such a scenario, does he get a message or in some other way? I'm unable to answer this question. I don't know how it happens. But it is said that mostly Petas are on the watch. I can give you some story in the Petabattupali. Sailors were traveling in the sea and they met a female Peta and she was full of suffering. And the sailor had compassion towards her and she said, I'm going to die in 7 days and be born in the Avicii hell. So he asked, is there any way I can help? Yes, you go to the Jetavana or some other monastery. I forgot where the Buddha was that time. So you offer something to the Buddha and please share the merit with me. I'll rejoice that. So she was in the sea. She was in the sea. So it showed that she could see it and she was observing it. Sometimes they have that divine capacity to see far away. And then maybe she got the message. I don't know how it happened. Somehow she enjoyed it. She rejoiced on it. And she was safe. She didn't go into the hell. So she was born in the divine realms, if my memory was correct. So therefore, likewise, they are always in watch. And they rejoice on the merits that we do. And they get the merits for their kusala chitta. It's not because of our kusala chitta. When they rejoice, they get the merit. And if they are in some other work, do they get the message somehow? I'm not sure about that. To my knowledge, there is no such information found in the doctrine. So it seems like they may not get a message, so they have to be always watchful and observe if they are in need of merit. Because if they are in need of merit, it's their responsibility to observe, right? So that's another way to think about it. And if they are careless in that sense, they may lose the opportunity, maybe. Yes, so that is it. And final more thing in addition, because I know, especially in Indonesia, they are very interested in sharing merits and they have a lot of ceremonies, which is a good thing, which is a very good thing. I do appreciate that very much. And there are two ways of giving merits. Like we give merits, like after this Dhamma talk, I'll be giving merits. We will be sharing merits for all the relatives. Idam vo ñāti nang hotu. That is called anuddissa dāna. Anuddissa means not specifically mentioning anyone else. Uddissa means someone does a dāna for that particular parent or particular relative, mentioning his or her name, dedicated for his or her name. So it is mentioned in the doctrine, in books, in sub-commentaries, that if you, because it can be proven with the Petabattupali, if you do a merit specifically aiming at a group of Petas or a specific person, the results, if they rejoice on it, results can be instant. Results can be instant. So we offer chivara to Sangha and share the merits with the dead relative. If he or she happens to rejoice it, there is a very high possibility that she or she may get the divine clothes on that moment, exactly on that moment. But if we give it in a general way, anyone who is there would enjoy this merit, but there is not going to be instant results, right? They are accumulating some merits for their samsara. So these are the two ways of sharing merits. So how far it doesn't matter as long as they can observe. She could observe that kusala kamma while in the sea, and she enjoyed and she got the result. So it shows that the distance doesn't matter as long as the Peta can rejoice on the merit. So with this merit of discussing Dhamma, preaching Dhamma and listening to Dhamma, may all of us be able to attain Nirvana as we aspire, and also may our dead relatives enjoy this merit and all the Devas enjoy this merit, and this will be a supportive factor for the sustaining of the Buddha Sasana. Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu, idam me punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu, ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang, sabbe deva anumodantu, sabbe bhuta anumodantu, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Idang vo ñāti nang hotu sukita hontu ñātayo, idang vo ñāti nang hotu sukita hontu ñātayo, idang vo ñāti nang hotu sukita hontu ñātayo, Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbhe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu.